Welcome, my friends, to the showdown between the dinosaurs, who shall be led by a Saurus Old Blood, and he's going to be bringing the Horn of Kygor and the Amulet of Itzel, which definitely makes him very good. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Tomb Kings, who shall be led by Cetra the Imperishable, and it looks like he does have his escort of Tomb Princes, so certainly going to be some very scary stuff. Now, as far as the build goes, it's going to be very skink heavy, so we're investing in a lot of big dinos and powerhouse units. So you can see in the back here, we do have the Hopok, Popcorn, Coport, Pocock, cohort, the regiment of renown of the Coldland Spear Riders, and I kind of like them as a little bit of a sneaky trick. You vanguard them, and usually people don't expect this when they're facing off against dinos, and sometimes you can get into the back line against like Ushapti Great Bows and other high-value targets. We're going to be trying to do that for sure, but aside from that, mostly skinks in the front line. Red-crested skinks, skink cohorts, just going very chaff-heavy because we have a lot of expensive stuff here in the back line. So, two big dinosaurs. We have the Saurus Old Blood. He's going to be coming in, like I said, with the Horn of Kygor, which is why many people think he's better than Krok-Gar. It's an item that gives melee attack and charge bonus, really good alpha strike potential with this. He does also have the Amulet of Itzel, so when he's taking huge damage, he can pop this, saves him 66% of that damage, and certainly isn't bad. So he's going to be teamed up with the Feral Carnosaur. This is very much my anti-large kit. We're going to be fighting against Cetra and his Tomb Princes, and hopefully going after the Ushapti Great Bows with these guys. On top of that, we do also have a Skink Priest with Beast and one of Heaven. So the Beast is going to be summoning Manscores, and the other guy is going to be Wind Blasting. We do also have a Bastillodon with the Rev Crystal. So George coming in, going to be healing up the big dinos. It's been a while since I've used one of these bad boys, but they're awesome. And yeah, can't complain about that. We got some spears in the back, and we do also have the Umbral Tide. So this is probably the more experimental unit here in this matchup that I'm trying out. Normally I might just get some more like cav units or anti-large units like Coldland Spear Riders, but wanted to try these guys out and see what kind of work they could do against Tomb Kings. So we do have them, and they're going to be trying to roast some of these skeleton archers. And that's it for my force. So for my opponent, he does have a pretty solid army as well. Front line's going to be Tomb Guard across the entire front line. So it's like, oh man, I'm missing my Saurus right now. But he does also have Ushapti Great Bows, which are going to be his anti-large. So he's going to be shooting at my Umbral Tide, my T-Rexes, all that good stuff, I'm sure. And I think they're both regular Ushapti Great Bows, which is probably better against dinosaurs. I don't know, it's hard to say, because they do better against single entities compared to the other one, which is more designed versus infantry. But yeah, if he's shooting at my Carnosaurs, very good stuff. He does have Tomb Prince, and also Cetra the Imperishable with all his goodies and the Blade of Petra. A couple spears in the back line, skeleton archers just to be annoying and harass and giving battlefield control. And I believe he does have one group of Nehekara horsemen. We're going to be coming in for a hammering charge here in the front. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and have some fun. So he's coming in with the Nehekara horsemen, gets a nice little charge, knocking my skinks into their natural habitat, which is the river here. My T-Rexes do get a little bit of a counterpunch, but for the most part, I think we only get a couple models. So he's certainly probably got the leg up there. My javelins are going to be throwing in with my cohorts as well, trying to slow these guys down. And yeah, we actually end up taking out 6 of them. So I would say it's a bit of an even trade overall. The Popcorn cohort, Pop cohort here in the back is going to be waiting. Again, I just want him to pull his spears up and start to abandon his back line a little bit before I engage with those guys. Over here, we have the Salamanders sneaking, but the tree line is kind of obstructing me a little bit, but I'm going to be pushing up the flank with these guys and trying to kind of pressure these horsemen back, because if they sit still and take like a full volley to the face, it is going to be really punishing. So in the front line, I'm basically just trying to screen him out. I have my my Saurus Old Blood and my T-Rex, just kind of following the movements of Cetra. So I see he's coming in here. I'm going to be taking a charge. Here, my red-crested skinks take another beating here from the Nehekara horsemen, but I do have Overwatch Fire coming in from javelins, and we should actually be able to take out these horsemen. They're poisoned now and probably won't escape very efficiently. Summon Manscore is going to be coming in. Summon Manscore basically is just going to be hunting down the Ushapti Great Bows, and the Salamanders just doing pretty good damage actually. So the Umbral Tide able to drop these skeleton horsemen to half health, and the other ones are getting Shrek'd pretty well. So you can see here good damage on those guys. In the meantime, I do have my other T-Rex. He's going to be chasing in, gets a little bit aggressive here, so I decided to kind of dive on the Tomb Prince, which he like did an attack animation that overextended him a little bit, so I actually ended up getting surrounded. So really bad initial trade for me. The Saurus Old Blood here gets caught in a bit of a tough engagement. Honestly, that's one of the bigger deciding factors in these matchups, oftentimes, but not always, of course. So we're going to be falling back here. Amulet of Itzel pop to kind of save. And at the very least, we did bait out a really big debuff here from the Tomb Kings. So we're going to be falling back, and we have Gary. Gary can heal us up, so the damage for us isn't like a game changer. Or it is a game changer, but it's not a game ender, is what I meant to say. On the flank, Skeleton Warriors are losing to the Red-Crested Skinks, and the Skeleton Horseman Archers got Shrek'd pretty good by the Salamanders. So the Salamanders are scooting in now, and they're going to be shooting at Ushapti Great Bows, which they do okay damage against. In the back, the Pop cohort ambush has been sprung. We jump on the Nehekara horsemen, and we are able to finish those guys off. So decent little catch for us, able to finish off those annoying horsemen, but really we want to get into the cookie jar and take out those Ushapti. So in the meantime, we're going to be getting charged here by the Skeleton Spears, because I was pretty busy microing in the front, but shouldn't be too bad. So right here, we do have a bit of a decent situation. We have some buffering now. So we have skink cohorts, which are buffed by the stand your ground. So they're going to be in okay shape. And we are able to isolate a Tomb Prince. So we're going to be jumping on with both of our T-Rexes and feasting on the soul of this Tomb Prince. Hopefully, Cetra is going to be going after the Salamanders, which isn't a bad idea, because they're actually really punishing the Ushapti Great Bow here. And I don't have too many other supporting elements. His spears are going to be kind of screening me out here. So the Umbral Tide probably going to need to fall back because this is a really bad situation and the salamanders aren't the tankiest of lads. And believe it or not, I've been attacking with the Saurus Old Bloods for quite some time and I haven't gotten too much contact here against the Tomb Princes. We're trying our best to burn these guys down, but they're just not going down. I mean, I'm hitting them, but they're taking it like champs, and there you go. There's a nice 1-2 punch right there, putting that Tomb Prince down a little bit, which is very helpful. Balance bar is pretty even. My second Manticore has been summoned, and he's going to be going after the Ushabti Great Bow back here. I'm just trying to juke out with the Paco Pot cohort and try and get onto these Great Bows. I really need to finish those off because even if I am winning the monster fight versus like Tomb Princes and things like that right now, you can see we actually do finish off the Tomb Prince, which is quite nice. But the Tomb Princes do have an ability to rampage you when they get low, so the Curse of Dejab, very good here. Like, I was trying to micro away, but the Curse really punishing me, which makes me think maybe I should have gone after Setcher first when he was a little bit isolated there. But anyways, we do get a Tomb Prince. He's crumbling. He's going to be going down 71. So 1 Tomb Prince down. Bounce bar is still even, but my Lord is very low. The Saurus Old Blood definitely taking a beating. But again, I do have healing. Rev Crystal is going to be going down on the Saurus Old Blood to kind of top him off a little bit. And that was a little bit of a delayed wind blast, but it still does some okay damage against the skeletons and things right there. In the meantime, Manticore in the back is going to be going after the Ushabti Great Bows. Pot cohort did do a dive in there to finish them off, and now I'm looping up and around and trying to get on these Ushabti Great Bow. On the far side, his Tomb Guard are really just doing a number on me. It kind of made me regret not bringing Saurus because they've just been grinding out my skinks everywhere they go. I mean, a ton of kills, which is expected. They're very elite compared to skinks. So I have my little priest here trying to fight the good fight and take these guys out, but they are not having a good time. The second Manticore is going to be diving in after the other Ushabti Great Bow, and I would say we've done a pretty good job getting rid of the Ushabti Great Bow and pressure in the back line so far. But the biggest issue is some of the monster duels. My dinosaurs keep getting caught by Cetra, rampaged, other things like that, and Cold Blood I believe was on cooldown, so I wasn't able to I had used it, so I wasn't able to save that Feral Carnosaur right there. But my other Saurus Old Blood's in okay shape. He's going to be going after the Ushabti Great Bow, just trying to finish off all the range tools so I can have some decent battlefield control as it pertains to my mobile stuff. But the Saurus Old Blood here does get caught by the Tomb Prince. Ushabti Great Bow actually have decent mass, so he's able to hold me in a little bit, but thankfully I am able to get away. Saurus Spears, the one group of Saurus I did bring in the back, is going to be piling in and trying to get on those Ushabti Great Bow. In the meantime, Skink Priest is fighting the Skink Priest Goon Squad. I thought they might be able to beat down the Tomb Guard, but I was sorely mistaken, and that engagement went very, very badly. But I'm going to be pulling the Salamanders over, and Salamanders aren't bad in melee, especially against light armor, so they're going to be tumbling in, doing somersaults, looking all gangster, and definitely doing some good damage against these Tomb Guard guys. So we might be able to burn him down. I'm going to lose the Beastcaster maybe, or at least he'll break, but it doesn't really matter. He's already summoned his 2 Manticores, so it's not the biggest thing in the world. But the Tomb Kings are slowly pulling ahead in the Bounce of Power, and the big reason for that is because they're shrekking all my infantry. The Skink cohorts and other troops like that are buckling, and that's really allowing him to kind of push forward and have a lot of control over the battlefield. The other group of Ushabti here are at -2 leadership, so they're slowly crumbling back and forth as some Saurus Spears do get terrified, unfortunately, by Cetra. But the Pot cohort lurks, and these guys have been great all game. I mean, they've just been kind of harassing that back line, really, stretching, and hopefully I'm thinking stretching my opponent's micro, but probably not. He actually has really, really good micro. He's an awesome player, but anyways, here you can see that the Skink Priest with Heavens, we're trying to get a 2v1 with the Prince here, just beat him down a little bit with the Saurus Old Blood while Cetra is busy over here, but he is able to pull back, and my Salamander is very beat up at this point. I have Gary. Gary's in okay shape, and he's still a force to be reckoned with as far as kills go, and we get an okay charge, able to pick off a couple Skeleton Horseman Archers over here, so, it's free real estate. Well, not really free, we're still taking arrows, but you guys get the picture. So we're trying to poke Cetra a little bit. He is weak to fire, so even though Salamanders don't have the best AP values, the fire damage still does an extra 22 or 25% to Cetra, so that's not bad. And we do get a nice little resurgence here in the middle. We're able to kind of push back against the Tomb Guard and some of these troops, which does actually kind of normalize the Bounce of Power. He's still ahead for sure, but it definitely is a decent situation as some of these Tomb Guard are finally starting to go down to the Wrath of Gary. Over here, Ushabti Summon is coming in, and this is actually a big game changer. The Ushabti are going to be able to collapse my defensive posture here, and I'm going to fall back, and I should be able to kite them pretty effectively, but the fact alone that he forces me away from these elements now means that he's going to be able to go after the Bastillodon, and there's not much I can do. I mean, the Saurus Old Blood can fight against Cetra, and probably would have a decent chance of maybe getting him if they fought just in a vacuum, but based on the circumstances with his Spears and his Ushabti and some other supporting elements nearby, it's going to be a really tough grab. Pot cohort overchase a little bit, so pulling those guys back, you can see I'm pulling them back through the forest to kind of unite here. Salamander Hunting Pack still shooting in against Cetra, who has 4.7 to my 3.2, so certainly very far ahead as it pertains to the Bounce of Power here. And you can see here that the Tomb Prince is still a big menace. And, that was what was really kind of a deterrent for me, is the Tomb Prince with his Rampage. If I, take him out, for example, if I were to able to isolate him, he could then Rampage my big T-Rex, and from there, Cetra could get the optimal charge, and I would be the one getting charged instead of giving the business back. So very, very good play with his Tomb Princes here this game. You can see the Tomb Prince here is going to be chasing off the Bastillodon, and my Pot cohort is going to be slamming into some Umbrae Spears and just basically getting whatever value I can. But I'm kind of in a bit of a dire situation here. So the Pot cohort, the Popcorn cohort, is going to have to fall back, and basically I'm just going to wait out the Ushabti summon. So I'm just going to be kind of pulling around, shooting them with Salamanders, waiting for the Ushabti to kind of disappear because they are a summon unit. and hoping that I can get an isolation on Cetra and maybe get some decent play with some of my skinks kind of collapsing on these tattered units here. So I'm going to start rotating over this direction. So you can see here that the Saurus Old Blood as well as the Salamanders are going to be rotating out this way, trying to isolate Cetra because he's away from the rest of his army now. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I can force a fight over here, I have a slim chance. I do have the Horn of Kygor, and the Summit Ushapti are now gone. So that did help with the bounce power a little bit, but the Salamanders unfortunately get rampaged, and they're just going to be running into some spears, which is really, really unfortunate. So they're going to get killed by the spears, which is a pretty big value city for my opponent. Cohorts are going to be dropping some javelins into the Cetra. You know, every HP counts, right? And that did about, what, like 150 damage? I mean, I can't complain about that, right? Over here, the Tomb Prince is going to be jumping on skinks, and I was like, all right, Cetra is a little bit, hard to catch here, so I'm just going to go for the Tomb Prince and hopefully get lucky. I do miss the first attack. His melee defense holds firm against my melee attack, and yeah, we're still just trying. You can see here, Narrow's Incantation is going to be going down from Cetra, and the Pot cohort gets a nice charge on Cetra as well, and is able to do a couple hundred damage on impact, and I was able to catch the fight slightly away from his main force, but nonetheless, he's in a pretty good position, I'd say. My big T-Rex is going to be tail whipping. Horn of Kygor has gone down, which buffs, I believe, the cohort. I think it was the only one who really was in the range of effect of that. And Cetra has taken, about 600 damage here, and the Tomb Prince is also taking a lot of damage as well, but without my supporting elements, there's just too many spears, and even if I killed Cetra and killed the Tomb Prince, it would still actually be a really tough proposition to kill this many skeleton spears. I mean, you could probably do it with cycle charging and just being really degenerate, but again, when single entities are your only thing left, even when I play on ladder, and this was a ladder game, I play by the rules of the tournaments usually, or at least the King's Cup rules, so I won't abuse single entities and things like that. So Saurus Old Blood here is going to be going fisticuffs, but my opponent has a lot left, and he's done a great job. He does have Cetra the Imperishable, he does also have a Tomb Prince, and we're getting some good blows. Cetra actually taking a ton of damage from the Saurus Old Blood, who does normalize the kind of the balance here as he does a couple dance moves, and you can see I'm really focusing on Cetra, but man, yeah, he's actually beating Cetra in the duel, but it doesn't really matter. Too much supporting elements nearby, and well played to my opponent. He did an awesome job. As far as my build goes, it was a build that I was slightly inspired by. I played against Felcon a couple weeks back, and he used something similar, but his build was a little bit different. He didn't use the Umbral Tide. He used regular Salamanders and a couple of different units aside from that. And of course, his Wind Blasts were really good. I think that was a big thing. My Wind Blasts weren't great. I think if you're going to go with a skink build with Wind Blast support, you need to be very methodical about Wind Blasting the Tomb Guard. Like, you need to finish them off. And if you could do that with good Wind Blast play, the world is your oyster, but I did not do that. And I really allowed the Tomb Guard to get a ton of value on me. 190, 72, 115, and it was a very scary situation. We had good backline pressure. We took out these Ushapti Great Bows before they did much, which is a really nice grab. And I did like the Umbral Tide, actually. They were able to really take out the Skeleton Horseman Archers, provide a lot of pressure and utility, and I thought they were great. I thought they were awesome. So yeah, I don't know. As far as the build goes, I think it's good. I just think it's the controller. I just don't think my execution was great. My opponent, he just was really good with his engagements and was able to get those great plays and really clutch rampages. That was a big point because his battle was relatively even until he got that. I killed his Tomb Prince, but before it died, he rampaged me and I got caught, and then my T-Rexes got separated, so I kind of lost my unit cohesion, and that was a really, really big variable for sure. But yeah, it was a great game, and I think the build has potential, so give it a whirl, guys, for sure. And yeah, let me know what you think. Get those Wind Blasts. That's really the most important thing. Like, Wind Blasting down those Tomb Guard and those Skeleton Spears, like, you have to do that. But yeah, the Manticore is really good for taking out Ushapti as well. They do a solid job. So very well played to my opponent, Ichiban, which means number 1 in Japanese. And I think his actual name is Imperator. So stay tuned for him in some of the upcoming tournaments. And very well played to him. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this DINO vs. Tomb King game, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.